What up, it's your boy Stefan with the Master of Me podcast. Master of Me? Hey, my man. What do you mean master? How do you become master of anything? You tell me. You focus all of your energy on one thing. One thing, huh? What up, it's your boy Stefan with the Master of Me podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, man. It has been a while, I'm going to be honest, with somebody right now. And before I introduce you, I just want to let you know exactly where I've been with my life. I started the beginning of the year going hardcore with it, felt like, with podcasts, just back to back to back, and I was all hyped about it. Then I switched gears. I decided to compete in the U.S. Open in wrestling, and I haven't wrestled for 20 years competitively, and I did everything that I could to find success in that competition. So I ran as much as I could. I spent all of my extra time cutting weight, wrestling, working through technique, working through timing, lifting, all the things that was what I felt that I needed to do. What I learned is that I'm not the same young buck of a 16-year-old that I used to be. Every muscle, every strain that I could possibly pull was going down. And what I did learn in the process of that is that a lot of that game was mental. I felt like as much as pain I was putting myself in through suffering, I was also pulling myself out to find the solutions to the problems. And every time something came up, I went back and I did the work, and that released, and then got back into it. And then that process for about 8 weeks, just over and over. And even the day of, I was driving up to Vegas to this competition where there's 22,000 people competing. And I was going the night before, which is trouble in itself. Like, I had to compete the next morning. I'm driving. I have a stiff, like, scapula. It's all the way tight. I have connect tape back there. And I'm driving with one hand on the wheel because it hurts to pull it up.
You look good, though.
There is a voice in my head that is telling me, what the fuck are you doing? You're not young anymore. It's crazy that you think you can go out there and do this. And then there was another voice in my head like, bro, you got this. Don't worry about it. Just go out there and do everything you've been working on up until this point. It's what you got. So I get there, it's midnight, I gotta be up in 5 hours to weigh in. I nearly missed weigh-ins. Like, I was one of the last people in the door before they cut it off. Got in there, and I felt like after that point, it was serendipity. And my first match when I wrestled, the dude is a D2 coach out in Nebraska, and he's the person who took the tournament. Like, he swept everybody. He was my first match after 20 years of not wrestling. So standing up, the dude has your stature. He has, like, your hand size and everything like that. And I go in there, like, shake hands. I feel like I'm false pumping myself up at that time. And he was just cool, calm, and collective and was picking me apart, man. This dude teched me 10-0. And after that, like, it was another round of defeat in my mind. Like, I just felt like I was looking for my dad to turn to, or someone to, like, hug and be like, what's going down, like, and run to. But at the same time, like, luckily I had 2 hours before my next match, and I ate, got some hydration because I'd cut like 15 pounds the week before, and which is all crazy wrestler type shit that I shouldn't. What I've learned now, what I'm avoiding for next time, which I'm already prepping and doing differently. But I did it the old school way and was dehydrated that morning and mentally beat up after that first match. And I ate and took my time and was calm with myself. And the next match I went in there with headphones and my hat on backwards and was pumped up listening to rap music. Like, I felt comfortable at that point. I felt like the person I needed to show up was there. And so this next match, I lost this match, but I got a taste of what I had in the gas tank. Like, I poured down and threw this dude for 2 4-point throws, which are big throws. Like, if you take the person, you lift them feet to their back, you get bigger points for it. And after gut-wrenching him and rolling him, like, I was then proving to myself that I still had what it took to compete at that level. So I did a second period came, and I was up 12-0, and it just I took a weird turn on. It was 612. It was 612, and I did a duck under. He put his knee to my chest. Heavyweight, like I think we're at 178, 168, 168 at that time, 78 kilos, and he came down on me and I couldn't get back up. But I learned that I got a little greedy because I was up. I felt comfortable, but at the same time, leaving that competition, like I felt eager to get after it. And I came home, spent time with my family, immediately got back in the gym, wrestling in the morning, working out in the afternoon, like eating healthy, and and then 2 months later, I have a kid. I got a baby, a newborn at home, and she is she's taking my life for a whirlwind right now. On like everything else stopped, so I feel a little weird because I just stopped this routine that I was on. Life hit me in the face, and also I feel like I'm being tested at a new level to experience life, but then also keep my family tight, like in the midst of chasing my dreams and goals that I have for me, because I want to go back next year. I'm gonna go down to a weight class that suits my body stature, and get more people that I can throw down on. And then at the same time, I get to keep my family tight, bring them along the journey, versus my life be about wrestling or my goals. It's gonna be about my family and wrestling and bringing everybody together. So that is where I've been at this whole summer. And now I'm back with a repeat interviewee, Joey. Joey, Joseph,
That's funny.
what's your professional? Which one do you like professional?
Let's see, I was Joey as a kid. I didn't like Joseph because that usually meant I was in trouble.
Uh huh.
And then I went by Joe because I thought I was cool.
Uh huh.
And then I went back to Joseph because that's really the name that I was given. Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph Witzke, man, he's in the house, and you hear that. I have something similar too, where I go Stefan or Stefan, like it's just different phases of my life right now. I'm back at Stefan with Catalan, like Stefan Catalan, like holding on to that name because it's me, and not trying to make it any different, man.
No,
But
Joey's interesting. I haven't heard. No one's called me Joey in a long time.
there you go, man.
But I like Joey because it's playful.
Right.
Right. But I don't like it sometimes because I feel like if it's somebody that I don't know, it can be condescending.
Uh huh.
Like treating me like a little kid, I guess.
100%. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
How do you feel with speaking of that when people call you bud or buddy?
It depends on the context.
Uh-huh.
Like if like we're just in passing, it's all about, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
100%.
Because there might be, I think, yeah, I don't know, but that's a
That's
good way
one.
to trigger people.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
that's
kinda
a
ruffle
good
their
way
feathers.
Yeah, yeah.
See where they're at. Okay, bud.
hmm
Kind of get that.
Yeah.
See where they're at.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
this is why I like being with Joseph, man, is because he is authentic and we can just go deep on real life stuff. And what I've learned from him is we're a lot alike when it comes to positivity and negativity. Like if we're going down through there, we're authentic about it, and if we're on the up and up, we're authentic about it, which is like the way that I like it to be.
well, I think it needs to be shared right now. I think authenticity is rare because everyone is so triggered by
All of it.
all of it. But if you look at what's going on, I mean, everybody wants to be authentic. Everybody's getting really tired of holding it in,
Right.
So I think that's what people appreciate about a lot of things is just, people that are human
Right.
and can like share their human experiences.
Right.
Because we all have our human experiences. Like your story in itself, I mean, is a human experience, right?
Right.
Like you never know how life can re-begin.
Right.
And you never know like where those things that you're up against the wall and you're questioning, you feel silly and you feel goofy, but then you look back and you're like, wow, that was really brave.
Right.
And
Courageous.
all the
Yeah.
story to connect there, to get there, like you got to look at it because there's so many areas that's connected to, right? Like
Right.
how many times we're pushing ourselves and showing up late
Right.
because that's all like a self limit, right? Like that was your
100%.
self limit in the side, like not getting there on time,
100%.
not doing the days
I would
before.
have been a good cop out. Damn, I didn't make weigh-ins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
we're
don't have
always
to do the
looking for
hard
a
thing.
way out.
Yeah.
Until it becomes easy and it's the only way in.
Right.
It's the only
And
way.
that's repetition, and that's being able to do hard things over and over, and then not putting significance on what type of hard it is. It's like, all right, hard conversation versus something else hard in life. Like being a person to do hard things puts no significance on what it is. You just get it done no
Well,
matter
it
what.
becomes easy after
Right.
a while. right? Like
I
I think about when I first started fitness, I used to have like crazy anxiety. I've always been into fitness, but I had a lot of struggles with, lifestyle choices.
mm,
And those lifestyle choices came at a pretty drastic cost. But one of the biggest things that it cost me was like my self worth and my
mm,
I don't know if I ever knew what confidence was before, but I remember when I kind of started to go back to the gym, I'd have such anxiety going there, a million things going through my mind, like, oh, I should do this, that, or this, or I'm not doing that. And sometimes I would just go and then leave
mm-hmm.
so I could tell people at least I went to the gym.
100%.
Like I would actually walk in, check in, look around, get anxiety, and leave.
Right.
But like, steady by steady by steady, now I look in the mirror and I'm just like, damn.
That's a weird form of progress though. Like they say if you have a hard time in the first place, like even going to the parking lot is taking
Mm-hmm.
2 steps up the stair. Then
Mm-hmm.
going in the door, checking in is taking 4 steps up the stairs. The
Mm-hmm.
going, checking in, and walking around and finding out what machines you want to do and getting a plan going, like, is another step up the stairs. But ultimately, like, I think that's something that people don't really talk about enough is anxiety. Like, I know my wife has anxiety, and for me, like, I try to push through things, but I sometimes like I worry a lot and I'll stay up thinking about things and like
That's hell, isn't it?
believe it or not, like that's a form of anxiety, but I like to tell myself that I don't have anything. Like I don't need medication, I don't need to do this. Like I don't have anxiety. When the doctors ask the checklist, like I'm nope for everything, but then at the same time like I'm really experiencing it. Like it's just different. Like I think I'm changing the rules of the game a little bit so I can say that I don't, but at the same time, like it does feel like I I worry a lot. Like I wouldn't do half the things I do if I wasn't worried about the price I was gonna pay.
Well, worry is a survival skill,
Right.
right? Like we have to worry to survive.
Right.
Because if you don't worry, then you're not gonna focus on the meal and
Right.
I'm a little nonchalant too much sometimes, right? And now that I have a kid, I'm like, oh, like I really have to worry about the next
Right.
meal. Because if it was me, I would just like this is an opportunity to fast.
Right.
Now that it's not, it's just like, oh, like I gotta really take this life thing pretty serious now. Before I didn't take any of that into account or care as much.
It's a trip, man, especially when it's not about you or me anymore. It's about us teaching the kids how to go get it and do it. Because at the end of the day, like whether we have this big thing to leave them when we're behind or the skills to go out there and hunt and fish for themselves,
Which is
like
what I would rather
which
leave,
is
right?
I'm
Which
on the
is
same
what I would
page.
rather leave is
Hun-
the skills and
Yep.
the belief because
Because
everything can be taken from you,
100%.
right? Everything can be taken from you, and the great quality is to not feel like you lost anything.
Right.
To just be like, oh, okay, like it's just a number, and I can build that number. But if it's just handed to you, I mean, like. The statistics of inheritances. I mean, the high percentage of them lose all the money within 5 years.
Right.
Right? Because they don't know the cost of earning it.
Right.
They don't know what dad went through, how many sleepless nights dad had,
Right.
how many business contracts went bad,
100%.
how close they were to losing it all.
Right. How many
Right.
strikeouts it took to
Like
get
they don't
there.
know.
Right.
And you might be close to bankruptcy, but then the day before, like something comes and changes, and you're just like,
Right.
oh my God, thank God. Right?
Right.
Then you're like, okay, like you appreciate it more. You appreciate that dollar because you
Right.
understood kind of like, okay, where that dollar come from and how it was.
Which is like I feel my life has been for a certain amount of time. Like always something always came through clutch at the end. But at
Yeah,
the same time
you just told the whole story of it.
yeah, and I'm tired of playing the game though of worrying. So like going back into training for this year, like I've mapped out how many pounds I need to lose per week. So that way I'm not suffering at the last minute trying to figure it out. The same is it's just a meaning of life. Like wrestling has always just been for me another way to pull it into life and because I
Yeah.
can apply it to my money. I can apply it to like I don't want to not do the work with my kids and then expect them to be good human beings because I didn't do the work in time. At the last minute, I'm going to try to be a present dad. Like that's not going to work.
No, it's not gonna
And
work.
it's not going to work in training. It's not going to work with my money. It's not going to work with my family. Like it's all these little hard ass things that need to happen now that may not seem like they're paying off, but when the time comes, I'll be ready. Whenever that time shows up, I'll be a better person in the
Well, and
moment.
then like I think also the good thing about your story too is not getting the arrogant or cockiness when you start to get it.
Right.
Right? That's the big thing.
Right.
It's like, you can get a woman, but can you keep a woman?
100%.
You can get to the top, but can you stay on the top? Like
Right.
the climb to the mountain is the funnest part. That's the great part.
Right.
But then are there bigger mountains, and it's that consistency of not feeling like, oh, okay, I climbed Everest, I'm the greatest now, because then you just have nothing but let down after that.
Right.
Because you're so arrogant.
At the end of the day, there's no real heaven on earth of like a finish line. Getting to that place where you have a beautiful wedding photos and video and everything worked out nice. It looks good on the pictures and on when you post it on social media, but it's the day in and day out. Like I think about it all the time. Like if someone asked my wife behind closed doors, like, how am I as a person, that it's gonna come out.
Well, it depends on what mood they catch you in.
100%. But like, the truth is gonna come out. Like, the dude's an asshole, but he loves us, or something. Like, I don't know what it's gonna be, but at the same time, I have to keep myself in the fight of, like, I need to. In my mind, I gotta just become a better person. I can't expect her to make me happy. Like,
No.
I gotta be happy.
No, please.
And through my happiness and sharing that, like, she'll become a happy person too. It's infectious.
The worst thing you can hear in a relationship is you're not making me happy.
100%. That's what I was
Because
getting
that's
at.
not, that's, I don't know. I'm not Disneyland.
It's not about
you know,
that.
I
And half
don't
the
know.
time you're
I
pissed
don't,
there.
I don't know. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like that's an internal thing.
Right.
Right. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how we got here. Like,
How many
I'm still
people-
surprised you're here. Like, I thought, it's a trip. It's a conundrum.
100%.
Because you're always going to be like a different person, and then you just hope they don't leave you during the storm.
That's intense. It's intense, but at the same time, like, showing up, batting for yourself, like, always knowing that you're gonna go get it.
Well, that's what
And-
she wants from you, right?
Right.
I mean,
She
that's
wants
what
to
she
s-
wants.
I
She
think
wants to see
most
that.
women, like, the women person. That was a touchy way to try to say this, but what I am attracted to, or at least what I think women would be attracted to, this is how I want to put it, is that a woman doesn't want the most successful person in the world already. Like, they want to grow and build and be a part of something, and then know that they put their faith into you, and then you guys came out on top. Like, I feel like that's a better happy ending.
I mean, it's a beautiful story.
story,
I
then-
don't. In today's times, I don't know.
I think it's weak now.
I
Like,
don't know. On today's times, it's a different.
They want the fast cash.
I don't know what they want.
Right.
If I knew what they want, I would have it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a different conversation than that. But that is so cool to have that, because I
Right.
do. People might hear their lady is nagging, but she loves you.
Right.
She wants you to be better.
Right.
She wants you there. She wants you present. And that might come out in ways that we don't understand, and we're like, yeah, she's just psychotic right now,
Yeah.
and she's not.
Right.
She's not. She's just
literally
trying to speak to you.
Wants you to be present, and that's it. Like, how hard is it to get your attention, to be intentional with your family?
Super hard.
Like, some people, it is hard, but at the same time, like, at the end of the day, that's their goal and what they're nagging about, and like, it's coming from a good place, but the way it sounds and the way we hear it are conditioned that we're fucking up or we're not doing things right. And then so I think it comes down to, like, do you get offended, or do you say of course? Like, how easy is it to you say of course, honey, versus get offended, find your reasoning, justify, point the other person down? And I feel like that's where
That's so tiring.
the tiring trouble comes from in the
I think it's
relationship.
the energy.
Right.
I think it's the energy that you stand in. Like, just standing in energy and just being
Right.
kind of clear who you are,
Right.
and respecting that. I think that's a huge part of it.
Right.
Because people are gonna do,
Right.
but they can keep doing that, and you just kind of like surrender.
Right.
It's not like attractive.
Right.
It's you want somebody like, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody,
100%.
but I would like someone of moral character and just willing to go on this ride, right? Like, whatever that looks like. When I was younger, the ride was a very different ride.
Right.
Now I like to go to bed at 9.
Love that.
So it's a different ride now. It's just, I don't know. It's so I haven't been married like successfully.
Right.
So I am no way somebody. If you want to get single, I'm a great guy to talk to.
Right.
Right. How to stay in a relationship? Obviously, I haven't been successful at it, so I don't know. I'm still learning. You have been successful at it. I mean, you have like I think when I see like what I mean I don't know you like personally, but just to have a family is so rich.
Right.
It's so nice. I co-parent, and obviously my kid's mom is phenomenal. And I will say that I just wish some of the pain on no one,
Right.
because it's you pick your kid up, and he's a different kid in those days.
Right.
You feel like you miss so much, and so
Right.
when I see someone that gets to home for their family, like I feel it's rich. But then also, there are times where I'm like, yeah, please come get this kid.
Right.
Thank God I get a few days. And then I'm like, well, married people don't get that. So I
Right.
can understand why it can kind of feel like a grind
Right.
sometimes. It's like I can't do enough, and I can't get freedom.
Right.
And, this becomes toxic.
Right, bro. I'm blessed in this moment to be doing this podcast, which feels like freedom versus the routine at home that's like clockwork.
And no expectation from it, right?
Right. The dinner, the baby needs this, the girls need this, and it's back and forth. But like at the same time, what a blessing when I look down at the baby that's crying, and then she'll stop crying and do this little smirk of a smile. And
I
I'm
know.
like,
And you
dude,
just
life
like your whole life just melts.
fucking
I remember so I don't know for everybody. For me, like when I got my son, I wasn't like enamored immediately.
right.
I was really like, I think for a woman, she nurtures the baby. It's part of hers. I don't know their experience, but I just know for me, when the kid came, like I loved him. I thought he was cool, but I was super, super overwhelmed. I didn't get it. And I remember like, I don't know, it was like maybe a month or 2 months. I was just holding him in my, I was just holding him in my arms, and my whole life changed. Like I experienced love like I've never experienced it. And I think that was like the greatest day of my life. That was like the greatest day of my life. Like, I just saw the innocence, and like, man, my whole life changed that day. And ever since then, it's just been like, so difficult in some ways, but, so rewarding, because all the challenges are what I needed, like I had to go through what I had to go through with this, to become a better person, because I was really a kid, and I was really selfish and self-centered, and I just didn't have good practices. I wasn't a good steward, so I wasn't, in a place where I got to have that. And, today it's given me so much strength and virtue, and, I've really learned to be quiet. I've really learned to just be quiet and let go. Like there's so many things when you co-parent, you want to control, you want to be bitter, you want to kind of hurt the person, you want to manipulate them. It's like, if they start dating, or you want me to watch the kids so you can go out and date? No, I can't watch them that night. Or you try to manipulate them with, child support or gaslight them. And then there comes this time where you just got to let go. And then freedom comes, right? Like the day I let go of all the anger I had, like my whole life blossoms. Once that anger disappeared, and I realized, he's got a great place, and this is what our story was meant to be. And I got freed from a prison.
Yeah.
I got freed from a prison, and now it's just like I'm so thankful that everything went this way. She's with somebody that I really respect, and we do stuff together. We do gymnastics, and there's just like, we're a family unit, even though he's got that side of the family and then he's got me, but we're cohesive.
Right.
And it's just so nice to have.
Right.
Then day in and day out of living with the anger that I had, and I was making myself so sick.
Right.
And looking so small. And then it's just like, I don't know. I saw my kid with the guy one day that we were at a soccer game, and I was kind of annoyed the guy was there, because I was like, can I just have something, right? And it was, my son didn't like soccer because his team wasn't winning. He doesn't want, and apparently that's a big deal for him. He's like, I don't want to play. We're not winning. And he was crying, and he was going like back in between, but he went over to him and grabbed him by his hand crying and pulled him over to me. And he's like, what's going on, Carter? What do you need? And he's like, oh, you want me to go see your daddy? And he brought him over and made us shake, a little 3-year-old made us shake hands. And like that, that was really the instant when I saw him with my son and I saw that relationship, that it just all went away.
Hmm.
It just all went away. And I'm like thankful for it. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Not a good time. Like if you have your family, you know, please cherish them, because co-parenting is it's definitely a journey in self-discovery.
Right.
You know, and I see some people who just stay angry the whole time. You know, just stay angry. And it's just like, wow, like you're missing this really precious time that you're never going to get back. You know, like you have 3 kids, so you kind of get to relive it a little bit. But when you're separated from someone, you're never going to get that back with them. And you're never going to have a 3-year-old again,
Right.
or a 10-year-old. And they don't know. They love all of you.
Right.
You know, and then when they're confusing, you know, all it's doing is hurting them.
Right.
And confusing them. And it just becomes like a whole cluster. It becomes a whole cluster.
I could imagine, man, the journey that is in itself. Like me having different dads in my life growing up, and you know, when my dad went to prison, then my mom remarried and then remarried again, and like no knock on my mom, she was here yesterday, and she has her own journey, but at the same time, like the stages of life that come through it. But I could tell you one thing that has been constant is like the relationship that I've had with my dad, even though there was a lot of resentment, which it sounded like you had like with your ex-wife at the time.
Oh yeah.
And like
Well, even with my own family, for
right,
sure.
and something like that. But like my father, like, you know, him being mad that he wasn't around, it's he made up for it 2 times with the time he was. And you know, him coming back in my life at like 12, he poured in everything that he could, and I learned a lot from him. And the things that I heard from him and watched him do helped me more than a lot of the other men or people that or figures that were in my life at that time. So like there's something about you growing, becoming the person, the best version of you through this time and through your story and through your journey, so that way that boy is going to listen to you over any other man that tries to give influence, whether you're teaching him what to do or what not to do. But him being from the same lineage, the same bloodline, he can relate to it faster.
Well, he's either gonna want to be like you or nothing like you.
Right.
And as an adult now, like I had a lot of anger towards my dad because they didn't really get along. My mom used to be like, "Oh, you're just like your dad." I'm like, "Well, you slept with him." Because
It's not my fault. I'm here.
But now that I'm an adult, like I don't have the anger towards him,
Right.
especially being in the situation, because I'm like, okay, Dad, I get it. Like this, like dealing in this situation's tough, and you just didn't have it in you to put it aside.
100%.
To put it aside, and it's nice being free from that, you know, because like otherwise you just stay a victim. I
Right.
was just staying a victim, and then I'm looking for figures. You know, I was always looking for a father figure till I became a father,
Yep.
and then it was just like, oh, like I gotta man up here and just let all this go, because it's all in the past. It's gone.
It's
You know, it's all gone.
you can't get it back. Like
Mm.
and at the same time, my dad, I heard him tell my younger sister had a baby at 16, and she told the dad, who was my friend, like that was a whole thing too. But she told him, he told the baby daddy, either you're gonna come and show up and raise your kid, or another man is. And that like stuck with me.
Oh, it's not a good time.
It stuck with me like in the fight, because now I get a lot of peace knowing that, just like what you mentioned with your father, like it's hard in there, and I could easily see one bad day on how that relationship split between him and my mom, you know. And it only takes that, like it is, any day can go south. It's like waking up, making new choices, learning from the last day, and then choosing to be back in the fight again. And now, like, even when I see kids wrestling, dads come out to the mat and like they want to be there, but at the same time, like they're not. They're like half-assed doing it, and so I tell them like, take their shoes off, come out here. Like, and I say the same words, like either you're gonna come out here, be with your kid and coach your kid, or some other man is gonna do it. And I'm that man half the time, telling them like, this quality time that you get is the reason why I coach wrestling. Is I have my daughters in wrestling. I get to be with them, and they see me in a different light. of a coach, of a leader, of a person that
Well,
is
that's still
influencing.
the same thing.
Right.
Like it's all still the same thing, and it's true because someone else will,
Right.
and we're so ego driven,
Right.
and like it can destroy you. It can destroy you, and then you kind of like step back from it when you really need to step into it. You know, really, it's a challenging place, but that's all the growth and the discovery.
Right. And wherever the girls like grow into, like at least I'm gonna know that I'm in it and I'm influencing them. Not me come back 15 years from now and hope they came out to be decent human beings. Like
Well,
it's
you're kind of setting like the precedent for what they're looking for,
right.
right? Like, you know, either I choose the craziest women or I make them crazy.
Right.
But I have an idea of where, you know, what I'm looking for comes from or what I'm attached to comes from. And then
Right.
I get in these relationships and then I kind of put myself in the corner.
Right.
And it's like so silly. It's so silly. But that's just because that's kind of what I knew.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of I posted this video this morning about like someone giving me a compliment, or it was a situation like this, and I was just receiving it. But like even though I was smiling through it and making noise like I get it, I was also having anxiety underneath, like trying to receive it. Like I
Yeah,
was
no.
feeling crazy that like every fear, everything I've been through in life was trying to push it out and be like, nah, bro, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. But at the same time, like it reminds me of like how do I receive love? And so there's times where I'll get busy at home versus getting intentional. And by doing that, like I'm kind of putting myself out, putting myself again in a corner and not being a part of the thing that I want by making a task or something bigger than the girls or something that I have going on there. So like I have to catch myself of like, all right, dude, I'm fucking lovable and I love myself. Like I have to go through these affirmations sometimes just to snap out of it because I'm in this like weird place where I don't know how to handle it.
I woke up this morning telling myself I was He-Man.
Right.
All right, like literally, because
Yep.
like a lot of times I wake up and not feel so great
Right.
about things, but later I just wake up and like, oh no, I'm He-Man. I got to go out and conquer the day today. Like I get the gift, to go out and just be me.
Right.
And you know, it's gonna land how it's gonna land, but I just I got to be me. And I really I'm so in love with life lately.
Right.
You know, because it's so fleeting and short and that imposter syndrome of like you get a check for 50 grand or this self maybe more something, but then you're like, oh, like I don't deserve this. These people know that, like, do they know that do they know me? Like, why is this? I got called punk a lot as a kid. And I hate that word.
Right.
Cause it was like, I don't think it was very fair, cause I had some really extraordinary challenges as a youth. But, I still deal with that today with people thinking I'm a punk or, sometimes I don't land well with a lot of people, and now I understand it's not necessarily me. I do understand that I'm a fairly blunt person.
Right.
I don't mean to be, like your caption last time said, someone who will talk shit to your face but talk nice behind your back. Like I that kind of like struck me. Like that's not how I'm trying to be. It's just maybe I'm a little bit so hard on myself, and then I just see others kind of making excuses or not stepping into something, and it's hard for me not to say something. And I think sometimes because it's not like you said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
I was working with somebody who's like really successful top producer, and I was like, man, you talk to everyone like they're children.
Right.
And it's not a condescending way. It's like nurturing,
Right.
loving, because people need like clear detail.
Right.
Right? Because everybody is relating what you say to their story.
Right.
Right? Like you don't know what you're saying to somebody, what they've been dealing with for a long time.
100%.
So, it's, I have a routine and a lifestyle, but I can't expect other people to have that routine and lifestyle. I can't put that on them.
Right.
Because that's their thing.
Right.
But it's hard for me when I'm like, no, you could be doing this.
Right.
Right? You could have sometimes I feel so good. I just want everyone to feel this good.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, it's taking a lot of work, and this is my thing.
Right.
And I have to be careful with it because that'll come off really arrogant and condescending.
Right.
And that's, not my intention. I really want the best for people, and I'm not trying to tell anybody anything.
Right.
I'm just just speaking.
It's almost, and you want to share it. Like that's, I mean, we've experienced that where, like, bro, I want to go at the same times, at the same place, do the same workouts and stuff like that. But the way my life is like structured right now, it's hard to get in there. But I also want to experience that because it's such a high that you get when you're feeding off each other's energy and you're pushing towards something that
Yeah.
you get to share it together and you care about a person. It's like, bro, I'm getting such a high right now from doing this. I want you to have it too.
Mm.
And that's in essence, I think that's a beautiful trait that you're just trying to enroll people into your life to
Mm.
experience what you experience. And the sad part is not everybody's going to see the picture or get to experience it, and that's hurtful too in a little way, but at the same time, like it's your job to keep pouring out that energy because the day you stop is the day you miss the boat on connecting with
Mhm.
the right person or whatever it is. If,
Well, it's like also understand like you have 3 kids. I don't know what it's like to have 3 kids.
yeah.
You know, co-parenting in some ways is kind of cool because I have a lot of off time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's easy for me to be nonchalant and work out
Yeah.
when I feel like it, and so not to be critical of people who can't.
Right.
Because I have a free structure in my job. I've designed a pretty nice life,
Mm-hmm.
and I have freedom, and I have to remember, you know, everybody has different lifestyles and they don't have the same thing. But I do like the idea of the group fitness. I remember a day we were at CrossFit, and it was such an intense workout, and everybody was laid out.
Right.
Everybody was laid out. I was like, we need 911,
Uh-huh.
right? And I just looked around. I was like, everybody is going through the same euphoric moment right
100%.
now,
100%.
and we're all sharing it. And like that energy, like people's energy comes together. Like
Right.
women cycle together. Like people don't understand like the energy that can come together from
Right.
from a group, and that's like sometimes can be so cool about fitness because you see someone who's lost 200 pounds and you're
Right.
like genuinely happy for them,
Right.
and somebody outside might not understand. They might look at them and be like, ew. But you're like, no, that guy's worked really hard, and he actually can do stuff I can't do.
Right.
And like that self-discovery and like being like having that humility to
It creates a human out of you. Like you're being in that moment, and like if you can go through that pain together, like your trust walls and everything that you've built up to protect you go down. Like if you're able to cry, shed tears, like suffer, work out, like those are things that'll pull those walls down and be like, all right, I see that dude that he's a hard worker and he's gonna go through it and make it to the end and to the finish line.
yeah, and it's like the same thing with what we do for business, right? Like, you know, I think a lot of times the reason that new agents sometimes are so successful is because they know, like when a client gets them, they know like this guy might not know everything, but he's gonna work hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that it means a lot to people.
Right.
You know, people just want you to work hard for them and put your best foot forward for them.
Right.
And sometimes as older agents, you know, we might see a situation like I kind of don't want to get into that. You know, and it or kind of rush through a listing appointment because I've seen 200 houses and I already know.
Right.
You know, but they don't speak the same language, and they might be like, well, that guy just rushed it. He didn't care about
Right.
me. And on my thing, I'm like, no, this is just simple. But, you know, it's giving that customer the experience. That's what people really want, right? They want entertainment because they want the experience. They want to be taken out of either their life or be taken out of a situation. And it's the same thing when people come to rely on you for something. You know, they're putting a lot of trust in you, and they just want you to work hard for them.
Right.
So it's pretty simple.
I think what I'm seeing now with that is trying to put together like systems like if you were to come into my restaurant and there's a way that we do things, like something like that, because sometimes I forget that even if it's a repeat client or a first time home buyer, like they don't know everything. And they're like, I'll get a question that's a simple question, and like when I explain it, they're so thankful. And I'm like, whoa, that's like big, you know, but at the same time, having some kind of like next steps layout that happened exactly 6 hours after we started would have prevented the question from even coming in. So then I think about it that way, like,
Clear communication. You know,
Right.
like you always hear agents like crying because like, oh, my buyers I've been working with for this amount of time went to an open house and bought it, and they called and told me all gleefully. Well, I'm like, yeah, you didn't explain something, right?
Right.
Or something happened, but you know, they shouldn't have been at an open house,
right,
right? Like you should have already kind of been on that,
right,
and like you didn't explain to them the structure.
Right.
So something was missing in conversation, but
Right.
then we just become resentful towards them, and we
Right.
delete them off Facebook and tell our therapist about them, and then we're bitter towards another client because like, you're just gonna leave me like the others did, versus like just taking some accountability.
I guess it's a relationship though, right?
It's a whole relationship.
If I wasn't into clubbing and the other person was, but I also didn't say that I wasn't into clubbing, I can't get mad that they're out there clubbing. When I see it, it's like, oh, I didn't say something, or I didn't set an expectation or put that out there a certain way. And it's the same concept of like,
But it's the same thing. It comes
the
back
same thing, like-
it comes back to even with your kids, right?
Right.
Like I think you just got to be really clear and concise in your communication with
Right.
people. Like kind of set up what to expect, what the
Right.
days. Your kids like structure. They want to know what their day is gonna look like. They want that.
100%.
They don't want to be little terrors. Like at their heart. I mean, you remember those Maury shows where they
Yeah.
bring out the drill sergeant.
Yep.
Those kids that's what they want. There's that one kid that always struck me who he's like, do you want this? And he's like, yes, I do. And he's like, the drill sergeant's like, what? I said, yeah, I do. Like,
I saw that. I saw one similar where he's like, "Do you want me to be your
yeah,
dad?"
that one.
And then he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
I think that's what a lot of conversation is, because I am in a 40-year-old body, but I still have the same mind that I've always had. I always have the same
There's
mind that I always had.
Right.
I used to think when I was a kid that, oh yeah, growing up I'll figure it out.
right,
And then you're like, oh shit, I'm more lost than I was then.
right,
Nobody knows what the hell's going on here.
100%.
And everybody's just at war.
Right.
Because nobody knows, and everybody's right and everybody's wrong. And we all forget that we have a relationship together. When we're
Right.
on the road driving with each other, we all have a relationship that we are, there's certain rules that have been explained, and we expect people to follow those rules. And when
Right.
people don't, you can lose your life over it.
right,
And it's insane. It's insane that relationship can be broken and so severe in a matter of seconds for something that somebody probably didn't even intentionally mean to do.
right.
It's insane right now. It's been insane. It's been
I think
insane.
it's been insane, 100%. Like for decades, like this. What it sounds like is just a deeper, like it's just coming out to light because more people are paying attention. But I think we've been so conditioned for so long. But now but I still think the games get so good at distracting us. Like even when we think we're catching on, but they're still throwing the ball like audibles. Like we're all looking off this way and what's going on that way.
Sure. Oh,
That
that's chess, right?
Right.
But then we just got to come back to ourselves.
right,
Because at the end of the day, like you shut off your phone, or none of it would matter, right?
Right.
If you didn't have access to this, none of this would really affect you.
100%.
Like it does and it doesn't. But if we didn't have things thrown at us, we would just be living our lives, eating cereal and living our lives. But
Right.
then things get involved and the communication gets, twisted, and it's like, we forget that we're all in a relationship and we're all just trying to raise each other. Like I want people to be good, because if you're doing good, then I'm doing
Right.
good. I want my kid, like I look at like maybe Tony Robbins, and maybe he's a little bit of a grifter, but at the same time he's really wealthy.
Right,
He doesn't need to do this.
right,
I really feel like he's in some ways doing it to leave a better place for his kids. I mean, that's kind of my mission now, is to leave something better for Carter,
right.
whatever that maybe look like.
And it's a trip that these people, once they get to the place, when they're rat racing it or whatever you want to call it, like chasing down wealth or a goal, they end up like, look at Gary Vaynerchuk. Like he's another one that went from like hardcore to like, he's talking about empathy and kindness and caring. Like if that wasn't the true message, then why would the people that figured it out be pouring back in that way?
But
of
it's
like,
hard because people will still hang on to Gary from 5 years ago.
Right,
Or for somebody, it's like, yeah, like that was, beliefs change.
right,
And that's why we kind of talk, is
Right.
because beliefs change. We experience different cultures. That's why travel is so important.
right,
Like you don't appreciate how good you have it until you go, like when I was in Brazil and saw the favelas and saw how they were living. And then I hear some people say things and I'm just like, God, I just wish you knew.
mm-hmm,
I just wish you knew like what you really have here, what we all have here. And
Right.
It would be great if we don't ruin a good thing.
Right.
Because there's people like that are, you know, but even then, those people are sometimes the happiest. Did you ever see the movie The Study of Happiness on Netflix?
No.
So like they say that like there's frequencies and vibrancies. Like
Uh-huh.
obviously like Jesus was the highest frequency,
Right.
but they say it's measurable.
Right.
And they say that they measured the highest people that had the highest frequency were rickshaw runners in India. They say that those are the happiest people, and they followed them. They took them back to their tin shack and their kids, and they were happy. But they're out running every day, so
Right.
they have movement. But like, they live in squalor.
Right.
And then I know people who are so wealthy that are just so like mean
Right.
and unhappy and just want more and more and more. And
Or
it's just-
or weird too the way that they get it, or they even get to their place of what we see them as wealthy. Like we talked about a couple names earlier that like it's just a different picture than what you think on wealth.
I just want to be as content with 5 cents in the bank as I would be with 500 million in the bank.
Like, and that's the I think that's the hard ground. I think
I want the 500 million more.
because you can it's a vehicle, right? Like you can
Money is freedom.
probably do a lot more.
Money is freedom.
Like I could imagine how many more of these and how can I put them out if the resources were different, right? And I work with what I have and I get after it, but at the same time, like that's how my mind would work is like, all right, how can we impact more people in a
Well,
positive way?
you are the resource, right?
Right.
You are the resource, and like the story you shared about your wrestling, like
Yeah.
that's just symbolic of your life.
Right.
That's your. I mean, I can imagine having 3 kids. It'd be pretty hard to show up for things and pretty chaotic,
Yep.
but it's kind of beautiful at the same
Right.
time. It's like what makes the family great is that goofiness or the sheer insanity of trying to manage all this. But it all comes back to that. Like, okay, I did it this way. Like, you have kids so you can do better with the next one. You know,
Right.
you get the first one, you're like, yeah, he fell off a table that one time, so let's not let the next one fall off the table. Right? So you get these kids and each one you have a little bit more experience to like guide them with.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with life if we pay attention. If we pay attention, like it's all just lessons to live because it's finite. I mean, none of this actually even really matters. We're all just going to die.
100%. I was just thinking about that. Like, really, all the worry, all the stuff. Like, if you impact your kid positively, he'll impact his kid positively, and then like you'll know that your name might not be in the book somewhere, but the seed or the words that you did helped that one.
I got called. It's funny you said Joey, because having my son helped me hug Joey. My childhood was not great, man. I mean, I got really let down, and I got some really tough, God, now that I'm an adult, sad and scary situations that this little kid was in, and I hear him sometimes, but it's nice to look at that dirty little kid with dirty clothes and long hair and hug him. The healing comes from my son.
Right.
My son has brought so much healing that like I just people are like, why would you talk to your mom? I'm like, well, I forgive her. Why would you talk to your dad? Well, I forgive them. Why? Like they were just. I'm an adult. I've made a million mistakes,
Right.
but it's so nice to like look back at Joey and like high five the kid, because I know I'm everything that kid would have wanted to be growing up. Like I know like who I wanted to be. Like if you would ask me as a kid what you wanted to be, I would have just said funny. Like that would have been my answer. But it's so nice to like look back and just that kid is safe.
Right.
That kid is safe, and so I get to be everything that went through is just to like let go. Like that's like just let go and just be there for the kid because
Right.
I went through it,
Right.
and I would be so foolish to do it. That's why I had to stop drinking.
Right.
Right? Because I was like, oh man, here we go. I'm exactly what I went through.
Right.
Doing the exact same things.
Yep.
Poisoning myself, and I had to change the water in my well,
Right.
and it's gotten deeper, and it's just so nice to like. It's just so nice to be at peace and to look back and not just be controlled by these things that happened, and to now be like I'm successful and happy. And when I'm in my happy place, I'm obviously transparent, honest, like I have virtue. It's nice to be that, because it could have gone a whole different
Right.
way. it really could have gone. I could have been that punk and
Right.
that person. You know, everyone told
Feed
me I was.
that
Everyone
story.
told me I was going to prison.
Right.
Period. That's all I got told. That's all. Even my father.
Right.
You know, that's all I got told was I was going to prison. I went in juvie for a few months and I was like, that is not good for me.
Right.
It was not a great experience.
Right.
Right. And I was like, I turned 18 and, I went my course and, I've survived, debilitating things that a lot of my friends didn't survive,
Uh-huh.
and I have to remember that.
Right.
I have to remember like where I could be when I have days where I feel like I'm not who I should be,
Yeah, there's like a moment where I remember looking in the mirror of, I don't know, like coming down off a drug, and like my soul was crying to me to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bring up that memory when needed, because it reminds me that the person that I'm being is not who I am,
Yeah.
and that there's something deep down in me that wants me to be better.
Yeah.
And then from that moment, I've started chasing like growth in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
it took weird things. Like there's something about what you said with those guys in India and running and stuff. Because my first, like, me separating myself from the crowd and the people and my environment and the stories of my childhood was from doing a marathon. Like I started, like, just got a hair up my ass. It was like, I'm gonna run a marathon. So started training for these 26.2 miles, and it distanced me from a lot of people because I was locked in and focused on something. And with that, like, there's also like I got a new high
Yeah, for sure.
of the running, and that felt good, and that brought me like mental clarity, and I felt connected because you get these like weird endorphins or dopamine hits that come from
Well, it's nice when a mile used to mean something.
right,
And now, like, to run a mile is just like, okay.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything anymore because now I want to run. I watch ultra marathon documentaries a lot. And you want to talk about people going through breakdown and people going
Yeah.
through stuff.
yeah, I like that.
I like because that's kind of what everything is. And a lot of what you were describing is that. You
Right.
know, obviously, it's preparation. It's learning from your past.
Right.
You know, the one you didn't win.
Right,
And building on it. You know, same thing with business.
Right.
Like, if I get screwed in a contract, like, okay, what did I do wrong versus this
right,
and wanting to have someone suffer. But that only is going to entail me suffering.
right. 100%. Like you'll never get. That's an endless cup to try to fill until you heal it. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to have the conversation that we're having today about healing and going back in perspective, right? Because now you get through your son, like, to heal yourself and your soul by reholding yourself. Like, it's in my wallet here, but I've probably shared this with you, but I do the same thing where I'll keep a picture. That's myself. That's me with the same haircut that I have now. Look at that. And like, what kind of weird dad carries pictures of himself too, like in his wallet? But for me, bro, it's like, look how happy I was in that. And just a couple years later, there was so much pain. My family was divorcing here and stuff, and like I have to go back and make that kid bring out that happiness, and then know that everything's gonna be okay. Like whatever I'm experiencing, that I have a lot to live for.
Yeah,
and I got
for
a story
sure.
to rewrite for him, and I'm doing it through my kids, right? By being the dad and being the parent that was missed out in a lot of this stuff,
Well, and one day we're going to be cut off.
right?
So it's just,
It's finite.
it sucks to
Yeah.
think about because it just sucks to think about, but that's just the reality of life, you know, especially when you just start to appreciate something, you don't want to lose it. And that can be the irony sometimes.
100%.
And I just pray that people don't get to that point where it's too late,
Right.
you know, where they can just kind of, you know,
Fucking figure it
hug
out
that
now.
kid in them every day and then hug other little kids and not like, not in a weird way. I guess don't hug other people's kids.
But it's more of the perspective, right? Like you're
Yeah.
using that as finding peace, and a lot of it is safety and security. Like just telling that fucking little boy that I'm safe and I'm secure.
Yes,
Like-
that is vital.
Right.
That is vital, right? Because there's always lack, right? There's
Right.
always like, well, why didn't I do this?
Uh-huh.
And I could have gotten in on this. you know, but it's like if you would have had that then, it might have been the end of you.
Right.
You know, there might have been a higher force that said, hey, you're not in a place where you can have that right now.
Right.
And you can always maybe reclaim things, but there's certain things you can't get back.
Right.
Right? Like your health, I really feel like should become first and foremost.
Right.
Because if you take care of your health, then you're going to take better care of your family and your kids.
Right.
That's what I'm a big believer in.
Right.
Right? Like you take care of yourself, you're going to just be better to be around. Right? Like dad, like they can either feel crazy bad when you come home,
Right.
or it can be the best moment of their day when you come home.
You're their safe haven.
But
Yeah.
it comes down
Right.
to how you feel about you.
Right.
You know, you hate your job,
Right.
you hate your wife, you hate your life. And, you know, that's just every day.
They're watching.
It's just everyday
Right.
suffering. Just suffering every day. And then finding excuses as why other people are making you suffer. You know, it's like the same thing with when you're in a relationship and the person says, you're not making me happy. I'm like, well, I can't. That's you. You got to make yourself happy.
Right.
I'm just here.
Right.
Like
100%.
I don't even know what's going on half the time.
100%.
I'm surprised you're still here.
Right.
Like I don't, I don't know.
Right.
Like because we are kind of like men in general are just kind of like, you know, we're spacey.
Right. We're floating through
Yeah,
it.
and the other party, we don't have that mind. I can't even imagine what goes on in a female's head, and I would feel like it would be very tiring if I tried to.
Right. It's not even, it's just, you're not designed for that kind of work.
Mm-mm.
And gratitude, like I'm working on that at home and just in using my words of appreciation for small things like picking up things and cleaning the bottles and the laundry that got folded. Like there's a reason it's on the table, and if I acknowledge that it's on the table getting done, like doesn't mean that it's a knock on me for not doing it, but also if I just share the appreciation to my wife, like it fills her bucket and the stuff gets done. And it's not like, it's just in a way that she feels like her work matters at home, because it's a lot too. Like managing a house is not
nuts.
easy.
They say that they talk to the therapist and they say that the number one complaint that they deal with is dishes. That's
I just shut up
it's-
and do the dishes, bro.
right,
Like,
but people won't.
Right.
And I think it's a little bit of a slap in the face to just leave it for someone else to clean and kind of expecting them to. Whereas if you clean it for them,
right,
that's an act of love, right? Because that's kind of how they see it.
right,
You know, and it's just like being a community and helping and not just
yep,
shutting one off.
right. That's exactly where I'm at. Is it's not these are your things because you're the woman. It's more of like we're parenting and they're all ours equally. Like, how do you want to split them today? Like, let's just knock them out.
Yeah.
Like it feels
Makes
very.
your life a lot easier.
It does.
Makes your life a lot easier.
The of course, honey, like, and just getting things done. Like when I put myself in that mindset, it just solves the problems. Do I want to fight about being right, or do I want to get to the end goal? And the end goal is a lot better of us getting to bedtime with everybody alive.
I gave up on
Like-
being right a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like I will just tell my kids, Mom, okay, thank you for the information.
Right.
And just stop.
I think I learned that the shit that I'm trying to be right about, I don't trust that they're serving the right purposes. So
It's ego
yeah,
most of the time.
exactly. So like I'm trying to prove stories right that men are greater than women, or things that I saw growing up, right? Or like I'm trying to prove. So with that, like I'm sitting at the dinner table waiting for my food to come because I'm trying to be right about that story. When in essence, like we're in this together.
God, it's so crazy offending the person that cooks your food.
Uh-huh.
Like having the person that hates you
Right.
serve you.
That's why they say never fuck with your barber, because they're like the closest with
Yeah,
the
don't-
razor.
Don't. Yeah, don't.
Yeah, she cooked me food. I'm doing the fucking dishes, bro. Like I have food to eat. Like that is the job is done. Like
Mhm.
I'm safe now. Like if we're looking at it from that's an hour marker right there. Let us know we're popping off. If we're looking at it from like a tribal or old school, like I just ate, we get to live longer. Like the job is done. Like the dishes mean nothing at that point. We have a fucking dishwasher. I rinse them, put them in their spot, and move on. Like it's an easy task to handle.
Yeah, relationships I think can be pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know.
If you let it, like
Yeah,
just let
and,
it.
Like I think letting go.
I think that love thing too, like me feeling lovable and believing it just helps me, like,
Well, I think when you
Be in
love
it.
yourself, it's just so easy to love you.
right,
Like, I mean, I was talking with somebody at the gym the other day, kind of was where I was at. And I just told him, I was like, you got really bad energy right now.
You told him that?
Of course.
Like
I'm
that,
me.
yeah.
I can't not, right? But I was him.
Right,
I repelled people.
right,
You know, my whole thing, you know, back in the day was I was going to hurt you before you hurt me.
right.
And I was really good at it.
I had that.
Really good at it.
Yeah.
And then I would take everything to mean something that it wasn't. But at the end of the day, like, I have, like, people come to me now and things, business comes to me now because I really believe in me and I really love me.
Mhm.
I really do.
Right.
Like, you know, my son kind of opened me up to what love was.
Right,
But I feel that for myself now. What I
Right.
feel for him, I feel for myself.
right,
And then it's so easy to give it to other people because
Right.
I do. You know, I don't hate myself, so hating you would require a lot of work. I'm too selfish for that.
yeah,
I'm too selfish to consume myself with these things now that I don't have them anymore. Like, why? Why? Like, I'm just so in love and life is good. Even when it's bad, it's good, right? Because I get so many lessons from it. And it's the same thing. Like, you
Right.
come out on top, like, you got through it. Like, I look back on some things, like, that's the thing with, like, drinking. When I stopped drinking, and people are like, oh, you're going to drink again? And it's this whole thing. But when I look back at it, I have all these milestones and stuff. And I'm like, God, if I drank again, I'd be giving up so much.
yeah. The
I've
price
done,
you pay is
I've
heavy,
done so much. I've built so much. And, like, if I did it, I just know what I would be losing. And that's a really cool place to be. Because that's a lot of integrity.
That shows a lot of growth because what I see like on the other side is sometimes there's like this need to fuck it up.
No, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
for
I
sure.
went this long, but I just like it's too good to be true, so I just have to fuck it up
Yeah, for
somehow
sure.
and then start all over or whatever it is, and not just drinking it, but it's like
self-sabotage.
it's a small habits.
I
of,
have
like-
mastered self-sabotage. I have mastered it.
the
I'm
master
so-
of me. It is
yeah,
self sabotage. That's what it is.
I was so good at it.
Right.
Now, like, I recognize when the patterns are coming,
Mm,
you
That's
know,
the growth.
and I gotta, like, look into what's really going on.
right.
But
What-
you know, it's a belief thing. But now I do believe I'm worth those $50,000 checks, and I want a lot of them.
Right.
You know,
Damn right.
however that's gonna come, but I know it's gonna come through, like, purpose
Right.
and faith.
Right. And bringing value is what I see. Like what you
Mhm.
bring for me as in a relationship, what you bring is the authenticity, and you're a straight shooter. Like again, you have no reason to fucking beef me up or lie to me. You know what I mean? Like it is every time we have a conversation, whether it's I'm being authentic, pouring my heart out, and you're authentic back on what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like the drill sergeant or not, like you'll re-say something and it'll click to me and it's like, oh, I was kind of looking at it rough. What he just said had me lighten up a little bit, and having those open dialogues like that for like is priceless. Like in a weird like the why it's so valuable is I'm not paying for therapy right now,
Hmm.
but I'm also having this communion with you and we're talking through things that men don't normally do. Do men sit and tear together? No.
I mean, if you look at the phenomenon of just like I didn't do AA, but AA is a phenomenon,
Right.
right? Like AA is one of the things that's cured most people, and it all comes from sharing.
Right.
So, you know, when you share things, you got to let it go. I went to this when I was younger, it kind of got me into real estate. I went to this thing called Landmark Forum.
Yeah, I've seen that. I went to PSI, which is another.
Whatever.
Right,
it,
right.
It's got its good moments, but I didn't know what it was. Someone just was like, "You need this, go." And they were talking about this girl whose stepdad was raping her, and her mom didn't believe it. And so there's this whole ordeal, and she wrote a letter to forgive the guy for doing it, and for her mom, like forgiving her mom. And I was like irate. I was irate over this, and I never got. And there was a lot of people there, and I'd never spoken for a lot of people, but I was upset.
Yeah.
And so I went up to the front, and the guy was an ex-Microsoft CEO from India, and his story was amazing. But we're talking, and I'm like, this is wrong. Like, this guy did this. Like, who are you to get into her life? And then he started asking me questions like, nah, man, this isn't about me. This isn't about me. But he would just ask questions. I felt like that finger on my chest. And this really happened. Like, I was just chatting with him, and then everything around him went yellow. I didn't see anybody else. It was just me and him conversating. And I had said things that I never said out loud. Never. And all of a sudden it was over. And I was like, fuck. And I'm not exaggerating. Everyone was crying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's crying, and like people are just like standing up, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm 60. I just saw that young man get his life back." And then everybody is coming up and talking to me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, like I got exposed. They know, like
Yeah.
they got me for their gimmick." I was sitting at home at like 2 a.m, and I was like, "Oh, I'm free. Like I gave it away." It's like when you're sharing like something, you're actually giving it away, right? You're giving it away, and it's a tool for someone else to use, and then you get freedom. And actually, the guy that I was sitting next to is the one that got me into real estate, because he was
Right.
just like, "Yeah, like you need to come." And like my whole life changed. I don't even think I had actually had a girlfriend up until that point.
Right.
So I got like a girlfriend after. I was going out. I started doing well in school. Because like I gotta say things that had been killing me, and I had really a lot of shame, and they weren't my fault that they happened, but I carried a lot about it. I really felt like inhuman almost to a degree,
Right.
and then shared it. So like sharing, so having the authentic thing is nice, because everybody has some commonality, and when you share, you gotta let go,
Right.
right? You just gotta let go, and I'm just a big proponent in letting go.
And it's almost selfish if you don't share it, which
Yeah.
is because if my story or my journey, if I hold that in for me, then how am I supposed to relate to anybody else? Like when I've done something similar and the times that I stand up and speak, someone else will come to me after and say that, man, went through something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And because you were courageous and talked about it, like now I can address my thing.
And I think people just like courage in general.
Right.
I think people like bravery and courage in
Right.
general. Like even if they don't, like I think when it comes from the right place, obviously like there's those that are self-involved in just sharing the story to talk about themselves.
Right.
Versus, people like bravery.
Right.
People like bravery. And to be authentic is to be brave, because you're risking not being liked. And in our profession, not being liked
Right.
might mean we might not feed our children, right? Because we are in a likability business.
And that's a tough one. And I think I'm not a proponent for, I mean, this is not what the platform is for, telling people to go do personal development, but through one of those like seminar type settings, I uncovered a story, like the meaning of it and how I saw things, right?
Yeah.
Like on how it came out for me. And the likability of not feeling liked, and probably the loved one as well, came from, my dad going to prison. And when he went to prison, like, I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but I felt compelled, like, on my tongue to let it out at some point. But now that we're talking about, like, being liked by other people so much, he used to, he was beating my mom, and, like, I was hiding, and running to my neighbor's house or going under the bed. And like, in second grade, which was this picture, is when my teacher sent me to the counselor. And the counselor he gave me a rock, and I held the rock, and finally I felt comfortable to talk about what was going on. And after I did, she picked up the phone and said, "Now tell this guy." And when I got home, he wasn't there anymore. They took him to prison, and he was gone for 5 years. And in that moment, I stood up for my mom and my family, and I spoke up. And weeks after, my mom hit the streets, and she started partying, and she would drop me off at school, and she wouldn't pick me up. So I'd wait day after day.
My mom dropped me off on a holiday.
Right.
And was still late picking me up.
Yep.
In first grade. Everybody was like, you could, like, it was a holiday. And I
Right.
remember then her rushing around, and I just sat on a bench all day.
Right.
But yeah, it's the same thing. That's one of my pet peeves. I
Yeah.
don't like waiting.
Uh-huh.
I will lose it if someone tells me they're on their way and they're
Right.
not, because that is something that I went through.
100%.
Very much.
I'm the same way. I'm
Yeah,
the same way.
yeah,
When you
it's
fucking
not-
said, I'm going to tie up my story, but when you said, I'm going to go to the gym first, and I'll see when I'm done, I'm like, fuck, he's not coming at 9:30. Like, I started going through that program already. If that
Yeah.
belief system starts to pop up again, and I start to, like,
Well, especially probably with me texting you last night.
I'm safe, and like, but you go through that. Like, I've experienced this with you, is that the the shit will come first. This is why I keep the golden shit plaque right there, the bullshit, because the whatever you're experiencing will come out, and then you get through it all the time. Like it's just a comeback story that I've seen you, or I've experienced you twice now on that, and it's like you'll find the shit, and then you'll get through it, and then here you are, you show up and you bring fucking value. But it goes back to speaking up. If you're not courageous and push through it, who misses out? Like whoever the one person you impact. Maybe it's your kid who finds it somewhere. Like I don't know. Like you share it and the best version comes out of you. Like I got to see something fucking that tapped into me today through your story, and you sharing that. But thank you for doing that. So if
Yeah.
I don't give flowers enough while you're here and alive, like
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. I think it's
there's a
similar,
moment.
but I just want to be a 42-year-old man. I don't want to be a 12-year-old boy anymore.
100%. And I feel you with that. And
You
so
know?
releasing that and finding we're so aware of who we are now, and the red flags, right? Like when it's starting to come up again. I heard you say that. It's like, all right, I'm seeing something. I gotta start dialing on what's leaning me to feel like this, because it's probably rage or something that starts to come up, and you're trying to protect yourself from this.
Rage.
But in
Rage
the
is a
story,
fun one.
going back to what my 7-year-old body or 6-year-old like mind made up was that when I stand up, people leave me. I stood up for my mom, and then she left me. So then I stopped speaking up. And then so every time someone would ask me for something, I say yes, because I wanted them to like
Okay,
me.
yeah, that's
If
what
they
we do.
didn't like me, they would leave me. And then the sabotage came from, if I knew that they were gonna leave me, I'd fucking leave first.
Oh, yeah,
I'd
for
find
sure.
a way to fuck up the relationship so we can be done, and I don't have to get hurt. So I'll hurt you first.
I'm dating a girl right now, and I think every other day I'm like, hey, I haven't heard from you in 4 hours. Can I go back on Bumble? Because I still have that thing. And one of the things that someone told me a long time ago is that I'm really scared to use my voice. I always been the same way, afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. Because
Yeah.
like speaking up means gonna get dropped off at a group home or
Right. Or sit on the park bench and not get picked up.
Speaking up was not. And then when you're in group homes and all this stuff, like the last thing you want to do is speak up.
Right.
But then if you don't speak up and stand for yourself, then the kids are going to manipulate you, abuse you.
100%.
So it's like, it's such a paradigm. But, to have our voice and to speak our truth, I would say it's a superpower.
Yeah.
It's a superpower.
I feel free when I'm using my voice. Even if it's not to downplay what we're doing, but if it's just here and this gets out to people, then cool. If it doesn't, like, we're still doing it now, and it's freeing to me in my life. It's like I let go of more bullshit in my life, and I get to go push forward with new stuff in my life. It like prepares me for the next chapter, what's coming through.
Everything. I mean, you're going through something. You go through one thing just to get
To another
ready
thing.
for another thing. Like people are always like, oh, like, why is it this and why is it that? Like, why wouldn't it be? Like, what kind of life do you want?
Right.
You
Right.
know, like look at people who have everything. They internally they have nothing. Those are, like Jim Carrey says. He's like, I hope you get everything, and then you can realize that it's nothing.
Right.
Like when you get to one mountain, you realize that there's higher mountains, and when you get to the highest mountain, they asked a billionaire. They're like, "What's the hardest thing about being a billionaire?" He's like, "When you get to the top of the mountain, there's no trees. You're alone.
That's
you
intense.
find yourself alone." And that's us alone is probably the scariest place to be, because like as a kid, that is where a lot of the trauma came from. I was alone, right? That's where our survival skills start to come in, and then things get attached to that. And even in our places now, it's just being happy with the mountain that I'm on, right, and just nurturing and watering the plants that I have around me.
Right. Amen to that. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Witzke in the house.
That was nice.
Doing what he does. And if you haven't experienced this man, like, don't let his cool demeanor fool you, and don't let his rough demeanor. Sometimes he's got that scary look that that don't fuck with him kind of. It can come off, but at the same time,
I got the RBF. Yes.
this is why I sit here, draw things out by expressing my life. He just matches me on it, and you get the truest, authentic version of him here, of the shit that he's been through, what he's learned, and how he applies it to his life now. And if that doesn't hit you where you need to be so you can be the best version of yourself by letting go of shit, rewriting old stories that don't mean shit for you anymore, and or changing your perspective to being grateful and nurturing the trees and the things that you have versus trying to chase something that you don't know what the end looks like.
Yeah, and you might die trying to find it.
Trying to find it.
You don't want to be one of those ambitious people on Mount Everest that everybody uses as a mile marker.
100%.
You know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph, man.
Oh, that's nice, man. Thank you for having me on.